Meeting's order. Good evening and welcome to the City of San Marino Design Review Committee meeting. Today is Wednesday, June 19th. My name is Kevin Chang and I will be conducting this evening's meeting. Will you please join me for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Staff, can we have a roll call, please?
Thank you, Chair. Committee Member Longwood.
Here.
Committee Member Wong.
Here.
Vice Chair Chang.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will first go over the procedure for this evening's meeting. Each committee member has received plans and has reviewed every item on the agenda and has visited each site. The general order of the hearing for each case will be as follows. The committee will ask staff any questions they may have. The chair will then ask the applicant or applicant's representative to comment on the proposal. The hearing will then be open to the public and the chair will ask for comments for, against, or about the project. In all cases, please come forward and state your name and address. At the conclusion of public comments, the public hearing will be closed and no further comments from the public will be accepted. The chair will then ask for comments from each of the committee members. If there is no motion for approval or denial, the DRC has the option of continuing the application to a future meeting. In the event of a denial, it is hoped that the applicant will have heard comments during the public comment period and during deliberations that will be useful in resubmitting an application. It is important for the property owner to also understand that once a project is approved by the DRC, the drawings become legal documents. If any changes are made to the project subsequent to approval without obtaining proper approval of those changes, the property owner is in fact breaking the law. There is the risk of having to change the project back to the originally approved design or paying a fine to the City of San Marino equal to the greater of 5% of the project valuation or $2,500, and then resubmitting the changes made to the project back to the DRC. It is also important to understand that there is a 15-day appeal period after an action has been taken for the applicant or any interested party to request the Planning Commission to review and act on the case. After all the agenda items have been heard, two design review committee members will conduct an open forum. It is at this time residents or their representatives may ask committee members about current or future projects relating to their property. Committee members can discuss the design with you but cannot comment on how they might vote on the project. At this time, we'll move to public comment. If there's any members of the public who would like to come forward to speak on non-agendized items, now would be the time. Seeing none, we'll close the public comment portion and move on to our agenda. Our first agenda item, design review case number DRC 19-31. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair. Item number 1 is located at 2285 Sherwood Road. This item is continued from the June 5th meeting. The applicant is requesting to construct a one-story addition to an existing single-story residence, and staff finds that the project would be compatible with the neighborhood and with the existing structure itself, as the addition would not be highly visible from the street and appears to be a well-integrated extension of the structure. The roof lines and pitch will match existing, and so will all the proposed colors and materials. Staff would like to know that there are a few trees and shrubs being relocated in the rear yard as part of the project, and the city arborist did complete a site visit and confirmed that the size and type of the trees do not require a tree permit. Staff is recommending approval for the project at this time.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for staff from committee members? Seeing none, is the applicant present? Please come forward, state your name and address.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Christina. I am with Silverlone Studio in Arcadia, 713 West Arcadia Road. And I am the designer on this project. So for this project, we are doing the 891 square feet addition to the existing 2,124 square feet house. And the addition includes one bedroom, a kitchen, the dining room, laundry room, and a bedroom. So the existing house is 3 bedroom and 2 bathrooms. It will become a 4 bedroom, 4 bathroom house with this addition. And the last design review we read, there was a huge confusion regarding the site plan, since there were some changes that's been made that reduce the scope of work. And so for this design review, we updated the plan to show the proper site plan, which showing that we're not touching the garage will stay as is. And the site plan is probably drawn to show where the AC will be and how the site work will be. There will be no changes to the front of the house, and the addition will be the AC.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for the applicant?
I have one. Last time I forgot to ask you about the solar tube.
Uh-huh.
Is that a bubble up on top of the roof? or
It's
is it
not
flat?
the flat kind, sir.
It's a flat kind.
Yes.
This is pretty close to the front yard on that, so, okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. We'll now move to public comment portion. If there's any members of the public who'd like to come forward to speak for, against, or about this project, now would be the time. Yes, please come forward. State your name and address.
Hi, my name is Stanley Huang. My address is 2285 Sherwood Road. My wife and I are the owners of the project at hand. We are basically requesting the approval for this project. Myself, I'm a third-generation San Marino resident. My wife is a second-generation San Marino resident. We've been raising our family here, and they currently are attending our schools. And the house is just getting a little bit too small. We apologize for the previous meeting where there was some confusion, but hopefully with this updated site plan, you can hopefully approve our project to accommodate our growing families as our kids are getting older. So we would hope that you can approve our project today.
Thank you very much. Are there any other members of the public that have come forward to speak for or against about the project? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment portion and move to committee member discussions. Committee member Lundgren.
Yes, I think they've met the concerns we've had the last time, and so I can approve the project as submitted today.
Thank you. Committee member Huang.
Yeah, I agree. I think they verified with the site plans and everything, and the addition is reasonable and compatible with the community to be able to approve this project.
Thank you very much. I agree with my colleagues' comments. The concerns that were raised at the last hearing, from the original hearing, were addressed, specifically the site plan, as well as having a opening large enough at the proposed study area that it could not be easily converted into another bedroom. So I think that met her requirements. I'd be able to support the approval of this project as submitted. Do we have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion to approve DRC case number 19-31 located at 2285 Sherwood Road.
Do we have a second?
Second?
Roll call, please.
Committee member Lundgren,
Yes?
Committee member Huang,
Yes.
Vice Chair Chang.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We'll now move on to our second case for the evening. Staff report, please.
Chair, item number 2 is located at 2375 Melville Drive. Being that there are 3 committee members in attendance tonight, and Chair yourself will need to excuse yourself from this item, we will only have 2 committee members, which is not a quorum, and we are not able to hold a hearing for this item tonight. So staff is announcing that item number 2 is being rescheduled for the July 3rd hearing.
Understood. Yes, so we'll take into record that design review case number DRC 19-11 will be continued to the July 3rd
Correct.
meeting? All right. Now we'll move on to the third agenda item.
Thank you, Chair. Item number 3 is located at 2940 Somerset Place, case number DRC 18-44. The applicant is requesting to construct a single-story addition and exterior modifications to the existing one-story residence. The proposed detached 2-car garage is not subject to the DRC's approval tonight. The proposed project would still allow the existing home to maintain compatibility with the neighborhood in terms of overall massing, scale, and design elements, such as the front-facing gable. The project proposes 5 new windows along the west elevation, and staff finds that privacy impacts may result from this, so a condition of approval is recommended to reduce the size of window 7 with the use of frosted or opaque glass to minimize visibility. And another condition of approval is recommended to relocate window 8 to the south elevation of the proposed master bedroom to eliminate the blank wall along that side. Staff is not able to make the compatibility finding for the proposed modification to the front entry. Widening the existing entry would cause the structure to appear somewhat out of proportion with the rest of the front elevation. Staff also recommends that a different front door design be chosen to be consistent with the minimal traditional elements of the structure. This concludes the staff report.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for staff from committee members?
I have one question, if you can clarify. Was Ron serving out there to look at the oak tree?
He was. There is actually an approved tree permit to remove that oak tree in the rear yard.
Okay, and another tree also? The magnolia tree?
The other trees that are being removed are actually not subject to a tree removal permit after all, because the height is actually shorter than what's the minimum. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Could staff explain a little bit more for number 2 on the staff findings? What was the privacy concern that was raised?
For Windows 7,
Or just, I guess, in general on the west elevation? Yeah.
the additional windows were kind of providing more visibility into or out of the adjacent neighbors' homes, and so staff finds that the windows are a bit large, so maybe either reducing the size or providing opaque glass would be helpful in minimizing that effect.
Okay, because when I was there, I thought the block wall extends all the way to the back.
That might be something the applicant can clarify for you as well.
Sure.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, is the applicant present?
Yes.
Please come forward and state your name and address.
Good evening, Pete Leffler.
If you could just please briefly describe your project and what you're proposing, and are you the homeowner or the designer?
I am the homeowner.
Great.
We're proposing a one-story addition into the rear of the house, remodeling the interior on the rest of it at the same time. And pretty basic, straightforward. We're trying to stay within all the guidelines of what is approved by the city with windows and everything else, so we're not hopefully asking for anything out of the ordinary. The wall does go all the way down the side, but I think it was an oversight on our part not to put that opaque glass in there anyway, so that enters into a toilet area, which is not a problem at all. We did have a question about the other window that staff suggested we move it around the back of the structure on the south side because we don't have any windows there. We purposely did that because of the way the master bath is set up, and that we intend to have a patio on the back side of that area. But we can move the window. It's certainly not a critical issue.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant?
I have a couple. Where are the AC units?
AC unit will be back by the garage, in the very back of the property. It'll be on the west side of the garage, southwest side of the garage,
So is that on the existing garage or the new garage?
the new garage.
New garage. And we're not supposed to have a design review on that garage tonight? That's a separate item? Okay. And the other question is, on this front elevation right here,
Yes,
is that existing or is that supposed to be additional, new?
that is existing, sir. It's pushed out, I think 2 or 2.5 feet in the front where that bedroom is. It's already there. That's
Okay.
existing.
However, it doesn't look like this.
The roof comes straight down instead of an arch roof. That's
Yeah,
right.
so is this arch going to be new?
Yes, that part will be new.
So you're rebuilding this whole section?
Well, the
Is
whole
it not-
roof,
It's not indicated on the plan that it's going to be new.
the roof, that'll be new, and the roof will actually all be new too. It's all new tile and everything. Yes, that section will be new.
Okay.
We tried to stay within the character of the house, but perhaps give it a little bit more character. Instead, it's got a very, very, just a front flat roof on the whole thing. And we thought because that's a pushed out section, we would change the roof style slightly to give it a little bit more character.
Are there any other questions for the applicant? Thank you very much. We'll now move to our public comment portion. If there's any members of the public who'd like to speak for or against or about this project, now's the time. Seeing none, we'll close the public comment portion and move to committee member hearings. Committee member Huang.
So I largely agree with staff findings, except for the privacy portion. I didn't find when I was on the lot that there was any issue with that, but I suppose if the applicant is amenable to that, that's fine. As for the front and the compatibility, it is a little bit strange looking, but I think it is compatible with itself, and I would be able to approve the project on certain state.
Thank you very much. Committee Member Lundgren.
Yeah, I concur with the comments of Committee Member Wong. I think it's compatible with the neighborhood. I don't think it's extremely out of character at all. The front door, I think, is conservative compared to what it was before, so I think I can approve the project. However, on the drawing, they should clarify that that's going to be a new section of the roof.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, I agree with the comments made. I would be able to support the findings that we have. With regards to privacy, I also noted that it did not appear that the windows would impact the privacy given the wall that extends. How we do have notes or letters from neighbors of approval, and it appears that the neighbors to the east and west both approved the project, if I remember correctly. So given that, I think I could support the project as submitted. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I'll motion to approve DRC case number 18-44 located at 2948 Somerset Place.
I'll second. Roll call, please.
Committee Member Lundgren.
Yes?
Committee Member Wong.
Yes.
Vice Chair Chang.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We'll now move on to our fourth agenda item for the evening, design review case number DRC 18-73. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Vice Chair. The project is located at 605 Chester Avenue. This is a single-story addition to an existing single-story home on a corner lot. The project also involves a new side yard block wall and a new garage door facing California Boulevard. Staff finds that the addition is compatible with the neighborhood and with the existing structure itself. The only new window on the south elevation will not cause privacy impact to the neighbor. The relocation of the garage door to face California Boulevard is consistent with the adjacent garages on the same block of the street. The proposed block wall is similar in design and the location as the west neighbor's wall. However, staff is recommending that the wall should have a stucco finish with a color matching the home, although the wall is proposed to be screened by the existing hedge. The pedestrian gates should be comprised of wrought iron material in a design and color that match the existing driveway gate. With the relocation of the garage door, the driveway gate will need to be modified to a swing position instead of the current sliding operation. Staff is also recommending that fencing be provided around the tree in the backyard that is closest to the addition project in order to prevent damage to the tree trunk during the construction. And that concludes the staff report.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff from the committee members?
One more question on the trees. In the front there where the garage is going to be, actually the driveway is going to be extended. Has that tree been observed with lawn service? Those trees, actually, there's two.
Correct. The applicant will be subject to submit a tree removal permit, although the architect did provide that the homeowner is looking to maintain the existing curb cut and the driveway in hope that it will be sufficient room to allow for a turn into the garage. And that is the reason why the driveway location is at the same location as shown on the plans.
So are they planning to keep all that the owner?
Any other questions for staff? Seeing none, is the applicant present? Please come forward, state your name and address.
My name is Robert Tam, 605 Chester Avenue.
Thank you, sir. Could you please just briefly describe the project?
So we had this project approved about 9 years ago. However, my daughter at that time came down with cancer, and we decided not to proceed with the project because she was going through at that time a bone marrow transplant. So we didn't do the project, and then she passed away, and so we decided we were just not emotionally ready to do the project. We decided to move forward with the project after 5 years since her passing, and so now we're basically we're enlarging the kitchen. By enlarging the kitchen, we get rid of one room, so we're adding another room in the back of the house. We're putting the garage on the front side of the house or on the side of the house, the entrance, because it's rather dangerous driving into the backyard to access the garage. And we're also putting a brick wall facing California because we've had instances where people are looking through the hedges inside our house, and so we're doing more for kind of a safety concern as well. And sometimes when the hedges get a little weak, people could potentially walk into the backyard.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I have a few here. On the garage side, street side, I kind of walked it off. And if you're not going to take out the trees and you're not going to take out the bushes, I mean, that leaves you about 12 feet off the property line that you will not disturb anything. So are you planning to take those trees out?
I'm sorry, which trees are you talking about specifically?
Well, there's one, it looks like a pittosporum, and the other one is an oak. The roots come all the way out to the grassy area with the hedge.
So I don't believe there's an oak tree there.
There might have been a seedling in there, but there's still an oak tree.
Okay. I guess we haven't determined if we're going to remove it. I would suspect that we would not remove it, if that's the case.
Okay.
Are you talking about the one that adjoins the next property?
It's actually on your property.
No, but it's where the garage is.
Yes.
There is, to the next property, there's some bushes and trees.
Bushes and trees, yeah,
Right.
and then there's a chain link fence on the neighbor's side.
Correct.
On the property line.
Correct. And we do not plan to remove those.
Okay. So that leaves a question on, to get in and out of this driveway and opening the garage door. If you're going to take off 12 feet, I don't know how you're going to get into the garage.
There's supposed to be the new apron. There's supposed to be a new apron that was supposed to, you can drive right into the garage.
Okay, well that's not shown on here on the drawings. And also the driveway itself lines up with the corner of the garage, the wall of the garage.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take 12 feet off the property line, I think it's 5, the additional 7 feet. So if you put the garage door at normal width, that puts you short of getting a second car in. I guess you'd have to measure on your property, but you'll see it.
Okay. But I would, it's a 2-car garage, and I don't.
Yeah, if you enter from the back, it's fine. From the front, you won't have a problem unless you remove all that, the way it's shown on the plan here.
Okay. Well, if we have to remove it, then we'll remove it.
Okay, so that means a tree removal permits.
Okay. Then we will see the tree.
Part of all that too.
But I think those are mainly bushes. I don't think they're major trees, but I could be wrong.
There is the canopy that goes halfway across the garage. So it's out there.
Okay. Well, you see halfway.
The canopy, the edge of the tree, the canopy. If you sat at the street looking at the garage,
Yes.
it comes halfway on the garage. Maybe it's been a while since you went back there.
But normally, the way I look at it is there's a hedge along the bottom of the garage.
Yeah.
All along there.
Right.
And the only tree I would think you're talking about is on the far right-hand side. which abuts the neighbor's property line.
Well, take a look at that. There's 2 trees in there, for sure.
Okay.
And then the driveway apron doesn't show that it's actually a new driveway apron either. It shows the existing driveway apron,
Okay.
so that needs to be clarified.
So there would be a new driveway apron so that we could drive straight into the garage.
Correct. And then another question for staff is, I think the code for detached garages is it has to be 10 feet spacing between the house and garage, right? If it's a detached or a rear yard.
Correct. Building separation, the minimum requirement is 10 feet. However, because this garage is connected by the roof, the breezeway,
Yeah,
it is an attached garage.
but does that mean that if you're going to be touching this garage and upgrading it, does that mean you have to go back to get a variance to do that? Because normally it's a 15 or 12-foot setback if it's attached to the house.
Because this is an existing structure and the modification to the garage is less than 50% of the replacement value. And the garage is part of the house, so essentially this entire project is less than 50% of the replacement value of the house itself, the single structure on the property. It does not trigger any requirement to mitigate any non-conforming condition that exists on the property.
Okay.
Any other questions for the applicant? Seeing none. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
We'll now move to public comment portion. If there's any members of the public who'd like to come forward to speak for or against about this project. Seeing none, we'll close the public comment portion and move to committee member discussions. Committee member Lundgren.
Yes, the overall addition to the house, I have no problems with that. It's compatible to the house and to the neighborhood. I do have a comment that the side wall would be stuck over the split face CMU wall. Even though it's behind the hedge, if you ever take out the hedge, you see a CMU split face wall. And hedges don't live forever. So to stucco it would be more compatible to the house and neighborhood. Also, I would like to see a more clarified drawing for the driveway and what's going to be happening to the new door and the driveway itself. This is not explained on the plan itself for the driveway approach, and also what's happening on the side for tree removals and shrub removals. So I'd like to see a continuance on it.
All right, thank you very much. Committee member Huang.
Yeah, I agree with Committee Member Lundgren. I think that the overall application is fine, but there are some things that could be worked out a little bit more in regards to the CMU wall. I think as the applicant had stated that sometimes, the hedges thin out, and when the hedge does thin out, it wouldn't look great when you're able to drive by and see CMU exposed behind it. So I think if they could stucco it to match the house, that would be a lot better. And I would be in favor of a continuance.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I also agree. I find the overall addition and improvements to the home compatible with itself and the neighborhood. Given the height of the current hedge that exists along California Boulevard, I think adding a wall will be okay. I was hesitant at first, but given that as long as the garden hedge or the wall hedge at the California Boulevard side is maintained at the current height, I think the addition of a side wall would be approvable, and I agree as well that it should be finished in stucco. I also agree that the drawing should be updated to reflect exactly where the curb cuts are going to be in order to accommodate a vehicle entering into the driveway, as well as any new doors or the swing of the gate. So I would be in support of a continuance for this project. When would the next date for continuance be, staff?
The next available day will be August 7th. However, the property owner will have to agree to waive the Permit Streamlining Act.
And when would plans need to be back if it were the August 7th date?
July 29th.
Is the homeowner amenable to waiving your right to the Permit Streamlining Act so that you can be continued to the August 7th date, at which time plans will be due back on July 29th?
I don't understand. What is the permit streaming at?
Staff, could you please explain to the applicant?
This Permit Streamlining Act is a state law essentially requiring any local agency to that consider application to process and act on the application, meaning rendering a decision on your application within a certain timeline. So based on your application completion date, the city has 30 days to give you a decision, whether it be approved or denied. If we are to continue your project to August 7th, that date is beyond that 30 days, and you as the property owner and the applicant, you will have to agree to waive your right to the Permit Streamlining Act. If you don't, we simply will have to render a decision tonight based on the information available at hand.
So if you render a decision tonight, could it be conditional on something or not?
So to the applicant, it appears that there's a consensus that we would like to see the plans updated and reflecting exactly what is going to be done with respect to the driveway and as well as the other comments that you heard and indications of the wall is going to be done in stucco, etc. So if you would like to request for a decision this evening, we can take a motion and see how a motion goes, but there is no guarantees that a motion would be approved or denied. I can't tell you exactly what
Well,
motion.
there has to be a guarantee that you're either going to approve it or deny it.
That is correct.
Right.
That is correct.
So one of the two is going to happen. And right now, it seems like you would deny it because you're saying
We're requesting,
you want additional information.
that's correct.
So, so that would be how I would imagine it would go. If I'm
The way you imagine it would go is correct. So the question to you, sir, again is, do you waive and would you be amenable to a continuance, at which time you would render a decision that, from what I can hear, would be likely to be approved? But again, that is at your discretion because you would have
So, it's, we initially...
Could you please come up to the podium? Thank you.
I'm sorry, my only hesitation is that we initially sent these documents or plans in November of last year. And we're just now getting onto the docket after 6-7 months. So and then if we delay it for till August, another 2 more months, is there any way we can do it at the next meeting?
Staff, is there an availability for any of the July hearings, either the 3rd or presumably the 17th?
July 3rd is still available. However, plans will have to be back by next Wednesday.
If you were able to make the changes requested by next Wednesday, then you could get on the docket.
Okay.
By the
Can
3rd.
I confer with my architect?
Is your architect present?
Yes.
Okay.
Bill? Yes? He says yes. So,
All right. Do we have a motion? Okay, I'll make a motion to continue design review case number DRC 18-73 to the July 3rd hearing, at which time plans would be due back on June 26th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Committee member Lundgren with a second. Roll call, please.
Committee Member Lundgren,
Yes.
Committee Member Huang,
Yes.
Vice Chair Chang.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to agenda item number 5, design review case number DRC 19-9. Staff report, please.
Chair, staff is recommending that the committee continue this project to the July 3rd meeting because the project is missing a property line survey.
All right. Do we have a motion to continue this case to the July 3rd hearing?
I'll make a motion that will move the design review case number DRC 19-9, 2265 Melville Drive, to be continued to July 3rd.
I'll second that. Roll call, please.
Committee Member Lundgren.
Yes?
Committee Member Huang.
Yes.
Vice Chair Chang.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We'll now move on to our last agenda item for the evening. It's consideration of Pella Lifestyle Series window material for the pre-approved Windows material list. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Or actually, staff, is there a specific report on this that you have to report to me? All right, if the applicant can come forward, please.
I would like to present you guys with a couple more things that I think gets us in here.
Sure.
Just requested. Just take one and pass it down. Do you guys need some too, or?
Can you please state your name and address?
Yes, my name is Mike Morita. I'm a sales rep for Pella Windows and Doors in the San Gabriel Valley area. And our address is 3350 East 1st Street, Brea, California, suite number 200. Don't remember the zip code. And so what I'm trying to do is have, previously we had 2 pre-approved products on the pre-approved list for the city of San Marino. The Architect series, the other one is ProLine 888 Pella 450 series. The ProLine/450 series was discontinued in April, and so Lifestyle is the product that pretty much took its place and essentially is identical. So one thing I didn't have Christine send you ahead of time was I have a spec that shows ProLine and Lifestyle side by side from and above. You're going to have a corner sample you can see to show what that's really indicating, but essentially all those specs are identical. So we just want to get it. I have, obviously, last time at the last meeting, there was different board members present. There was a question of quality, which I have many ways I can address that if that's still an issue. And all that stuff is included in the materials you received prior and now. So I also brought with me full-size samples, and a corner section was asked for at the last meeting, so I brought that as well. That's necessary.
Okay, are there any questions for the representative regarding the windows? I have a question. So I understand what you're saying is that this, the ProLine was discontinued as of April this year. Is that correct?
Right.
And then now the replacement was called the Lifestyle line. And I am looking at the sections that you provided with regards to the 2 windows. And it appears that they are identical. So, to your understanding, is there any change or difference in the previous ProLine and the Lifestyle?
The only changes is that basically we had 2 product lines that were discontinued. One was ProLine/450, 450 series, the other one was called Designer Series, which may have been approved in San Marino before, a long time ago, but was no longer on the list. And so both of those products were kind of rebranded under the name Lifestyle. So there is an option to have the windows come triple pane with window treatments in between the glass panes, as indicated in the brochure. I think you guys should have. But aside from that, that's purely an option. Nothing necessarily that needs to be integrated in the house.
All right.
Aside from that, the aesthetic options, color-wise, on the exterior cladding, interior, not that you guys, I don't know if that matters, but the grid patterns, all of that is the same as the ProLine/450 series, which was previously approved. There's been a large demand of this product because people have been requesting ProLine, but it's no longer something we can sell anymore because it's discontinued. ProLine is at a lower price point, as is Lifestyle, than Architect series. And that is mainly because, and that question was brought up at the last meeting, not because of quality, which is why I provided certain specs that show the energy efficiency of the window, but because of the difference in aesthetic options. And I have examples I can show that showcase some of these differences, but that's the main reason. As far as quality and material, they're essentially identical, which is why I'm sure they were both approved previously.
I have a question for staff. So the Architecture Series, Hella, is still on the pre-approved list?
It is.
It is.
As of today.
And now that we know definitively that the ProLine is discontinued, is it off the pre-approved list or is it still on the pre-approved list? Do we know?
We have not made the changes to remove the item from the list as of today.
Yes. Okay. All right. If there's no questions for the applicant, we can discuss.
Yeah, can we see what they look like?
Sure. Can you please bring the cut sections? Or are they heavy? Can you bring them up to?
I can bring all of them if you want.
Do you want to?
I don't know if you can. I can put them on there.
Yeah, if you bring them up. Thanks.
So this is Lifestyle with the optional triple pane, and then I have Architect Series here, just so you can see in comparison. Please don't drop those. There's no ones I have. And then I have a double pane Lifestyle as well.
Okay, so you said this over here is the architectural, which is on the pre-approved list today?
Correct. And then this is Lifestyle. That's also Lifestyle as a corner section. This was double pane like that corner sample. That's Architect Series. And one of the minor differences that contributes to the different price point is that this grid, you notice, is a little bit more flat than that one. For some people, that's a difference in preference that they care about. For others, most of the time, it's not. And so people are willing to go with the lower price point for.
So divided lights are that's the thickest you can get them, whereas the architectural can be thicker. Is
Right.
that what I'm hearing?
Right. But they both have the spacers, so they're simulated to look like it's going all the way through the glass, without being a single pane hazard.
The ProLine, was the divided lights also as thin, or were they thicker?
Yes, in fact, I have a ProLine also.
And that was on the pre-approved list, but it's discontinued, correct?
Correct. Can I put it on the
Yeah,
specs?
you put it right over. Thanks. So I think this came up last time when we were reviewing this product, and there was some hesitations as to what the ask was for us to recommend to Planning Commission for review. And I believe when you made the presentation last time, you were recommending or requesting that we request the entire series, the whole Lifestyle series. Is that correct? Is that the same request that you have today, or have you narrowed it down to particular products that you feel you have